Hello everyone, welcome back to the United Star. Today we have Parshva here to discuss who is going to finish in the top four. The season's getting really exciting and a lot of teams are dropping points whereas some teams are doing very well. And it's between Leicester, Chelsea, Manchester United and Wolves as to who finishes in those two spots that are yet available in the top four. The gap between Wolves, who are sixth place right now, and between Leicester, who are in third, is just a mere 6 points. And anything can happen as we stand. So, Pashwa, let me ask you first, where do you think Manchester United is going to finish on the table?
I think United have the momentum going into the end tail end of the season to finish third, and I'm saying that with full confidence,
Okay,
despite despite wins from Leicester and Chelsea over the weekend.
right. So, I agree with Pashwa. We say this because let's look at Manchester United's fixtures. We play Aston Villa away, Southampton home, Palace away, West Ham home, and Leicester away. So we've got 3 games at home, we've got 3 games away. I know the crowd isn't there, but yet it makes a little bit of a difference when we're playing at Old Trafford. So first of all, that's in our favor. Apart from that, apart from Leicester, none of the teams should really challenge us to a victory. Do you think, Pashwa, what I'm saying makes sense? I think we should easily coast through against Aston Villa, Southampton, Palace, and West Ham.
Yeah, I think those are pretty easy games. I know Southampton made an upset today against Man City, but I think United have the the talent, and I think after the lockdown, we've simply been brilliant. So I don't really see any challenge, even coming from Leicester.
Yeah, I agree. After lockdown, since you've mentioned it, let me just put out some statistics out there. Mason Greenwood's got 3 goals and an assist. Rashford's got 2 goals and 2 assists and a goal. Bruno Fernandes has got 4 goals and 2 assists, and Martial as well has got 4 goals and 2 assists. So we're sharing the goals around the team. And Paul Pogba has been brilliant. Luke Shaw has been incredible. Van Bissaka has chipped in with 2 assists. So I think the whole team is really gelling well, and we're not conceding that many goals anymore as well. So, Pasha, in the games that I've mentioned that are coming for United, how many goals, how many clean sheets do you think we'll keep, and do you think we'll win all the games, or do you think we'll drop points somewhere?
I think in the upcoming games, we might concede against Leicester and Southampton. I think with the other games, unless there's a wonder goal or David De Gea error, I don't see us dropping too many clean sheets, dropping too many points even.
Absolutely.
Um,
Yeah, I agree with you completely, Pasha. I think we will go unbeaten till we play Leicester, and then that will be the final game of the season. So you can't say what's going to happen. We've seen some crazy things happen on final day. We don't want to get into that. It hurts. It yet hurts often. But anyway, I think that United will not. United should win their next 4 games quite comfortably, and then going on from there against Leicester, I think we will win. But I think it could be a draw maybe. But yes, I don't see us conceding. I think I agree with you that we concede against maybe Southampton and Leicester unless there's a freak goal or a freak defensive error. So that's why we think United is going to finish third. But who do we think is going to finish fourth, Pashwa?
Fourth, I think Chelsea will finish fourth. They have the quality over Wolves and Leicester to pull through. And the run of fixtures is, I think, coinciding with Wolves, where the final day Chelsea do play Wolves, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah.
And that's the one I think might be the deciding factor if it comes down to it.
Hmm.
But I think Chelsea do have the upper hand on in terms of quality
Yeah.
going forward. I know
Yeah.
they play Liverpool as well the day before, so that might be a tough game. But
Yeah.
seeing Liverpool's current form, I wouldn't put it past Chelsea beating them after them getting hammered 4-0 against City. And
True.
yeah, yesterday they did end up beating um,
Aston Villa, but
Aston
Aston
Villa,
Villa.
but Aston Villa has been at the bottom of the league, and
And yet that wasn't a good performance.
yeah, I think Liverpool did struggle against them, only
Yeah.
getting a goal like towards the latter half, the second half.
Right. So let me read out Chelsea's fixtures once again. They play 2 away games now back to back against Palace and Sheffield. Palace, of course, being a North London derby, not a North London derby, a London derby. Then they host Norwich, and then they go away to Liverpool, and then they host Wolves. So why we say that United are going to finish above Chelsea is for the simple fact that they've got Wolves and Liverpool left, right? And those 2 games are by no means easy. And the points gap between Manchester United and Chelsea is 2. So between Wolves and Liverpool and Sheffield, between those 3 games, Pasha and me both are expecting Chelsea to drop at least 4 points. You think, Pasha?
I believe so. I think even 5 if Sheffield sort of play the way they did before the lockdown.
Hmm.
They are missing a couple of players, so they haven't been able to maintain that sort of level of intensity, um, just due to the lack of squad depth. I think
Absolutely.
coming from the championship, it was a surprise they even made it this far and did this well in their first season up. I've been super impressed by them. It was sad to see how they sort of slipped up after the lockdown, but I guess that's what
Yeah.
happens.
If we were doing this before the lockdown, Sheffield would have been right in the debate for this top four league, but right now they aren't. But Chelsea, as you said, have been very good going forward, but defensively there are many errors. So that's why we think that they probably end up losing to Liverpool and maybe get a draw at Wolves, which for United works. It's a win-win situation if they get a draw, because even Wolves drop points and even Chelsea drop points.
Mhm.
So as we saw, they beat Man City 2-1, but they lost to West Ham right after that, and then they beat Watford 3-0. So it's a very erratic team. Willian and Pulisic, of course, are doing very well. Willian's got 3 goals. Pulisic has got 2 goals and 3 assists. But going forward, we're not in doubt of Chelsea, but it's their defensive capabilities and the squad depth. Because you do remember that United will play Chelsea in the FA Cup game in between as well. So I
Mhm.
think their last 3 games are going to be United, Liverpool, and Wolves. So that's a very tough run of fixtures. And as we said, we think they'll drop at least 4 points there, because they lose the game to Liverpool, we think, and drop 2 points against Wolves, because we think that's a draw. So that's why we think Chelsea's going to finish fourth and United will finish in third place. At fifth place, Pashwa, do you think it's going to be Wolves, or do you think it's going to be Leicester City?
In my opinion, it's going to be Wolves. Wolves have been one of the other teams that have been performing well since the lockdown. The same cannot be said for Leicester. I think yesterday was their first win post lockdown. They did end up getting 3 goals. Vardy got his double. But I think the form that Leicester have and the run of fixtures that they have, I think is going to be a nightmare for them. And I think they have at least 3 games that they will 100% lose, against Arsenal, Tottenham, and United. Um, and then I think they would beat Bournemouth. Um, and again, Sheffield would be a difficult game for them.
Yeah. Yeah, like you said, like you already have mentioned, Leicester have very difficult fixtures, right? Leicester have, like you've already said, they have to play Arsenal away. And Arsenal away is not an easy team to beat. They haven't lost away from
Mhm.
home. After Liverpool, they have the longest unbeaten streak in the Premier League right now at home. So Arsenal away from home is not going to be easy. Bournemouth, they will beat. Bournemouth look like the side that they're done. Sheffield, you don't know which Sheffield turns up nowadays, and then they end with Spurs and Man United. So those are again difficult fixtures. But as compared to that, Wolves, if you look at the Wolves fixtures, relatively easier. They go to Sheffield, then they host Everton, they go to Burnley, they host Palace, and they end with Chelsea. So you'd expect them to pull through in the Sheffield and Burnley game and the Palace game. The Everton game might be a little tricky, but you'd expect Wolves to at least win three out of the remaining 5 games, I'd say. And Everton might be a draw, and they might just draw to Chelsea as well, as we've said before in the Chelsea thing. So that's why we think Wolves is going to finish above Leicester, even though they are currently 6 points behind Leicester. So we think they'll finish above Leicester because we think Leicester are definitely dropping 9 points, and that's a lot of points to drop. Why do we think that? Because after coming back, Leicester City, Pasha, Jamie Vardy has looked off color, you'd say.
Yeah, I think he hasn't been at his best. I think even Madison has been a bit slow in the previous games. He had a knock, I think, which is why he didn't play the last game. Um, but I don't, unless they have a serious pickup in confidence, in energy, in finishing, it's going to be hard to beat. Arsenal are in a decent form right now. I think they've done well over the last 2 games, and playing Leicester at home for Arsenal. Um, I think Arsenal will beat Leicester. And yeah, so I don't really see Leicester um, dropping any less than 9 points.
Yeah,
It is possible that they drop some more.
I agree. I agree. Because the other thing you have to remember is that Ricardo Pereira is basically out for the season, and he's been an incredible
Hmm.
influence on the team. Ben Chilwell also has taken a knock, and we don't know how long he's going to take to recover from that. In midfield, Iosi Perez's form has dropped off. So going forward, they're really reliant only on Vardy and Madison to create something, and it's not been happening for them. Let's face it. They struggled to get a goal against Watford. They didn't get a goal against Brighton. They struggled against Everton, and they got three against Palace. But that was again Jamie Vardy's brilliance on the counter, Harvey Barnes putting two assists.
Hmm.
So that's essentially the problem with Leicester. Whereas if you look at Wolves on the flip side, they've been doing really well. They've been grinding out the results you'd expect Wolves to grind out, right? It's not flamboyant, it's not flashy. It's simple: a 2-0, a 1-0, a 1-0, and then a 2-0 loss to Arsenal. But uh, I mean, they really didn't turn up for that game. And their main players in terms of Raul Jimenez, who's got two goals, and Traore, who's got two assists, are doing pretty well, you'd say. So I think, as Parshva has said, I think Wolves are in a better position to finish on fifth place than Leicester are at the moment, just because of the run of fixtures. And also just because of the form that they're in, we've seen that teams with less depth are falling off, and Leicester have less depth, right?
Absolutely.
Wolves, Pashwa, can you like you can recount like a few Wolves players in the squad depth are incredible.
Yeah, I think Cutrone is a decent player, and then Pedro Neto has
Hmm.
been doing well off the bench, coming in. So I think they have the attacking powers to stay in the top five and get that Europa League spot and potential Champions League spot if the City ban remains. Um, so I think it would be interesting seeing Wolves play in maybe the Champions League, hopefully,
Hmm.
um, considering how City might not very well be in the Champions League.
True, true. So going forward, we think that Manchester United is going to finish in third place. United currently at 55 points, right? If they win all their five games, that would be another 15 points, right? So they'd end
Mhm.
up with 70 points. So we are saying Manchester United end up with 70 points in third place. Chelsea, on the other hand, we say that are going to drop points. They're going to drop points against, we specifically we think, against Liverpool and also against Wolves. So they'll drop 4 points. So they would get an 11-point fillip from here, and they would finish at 68 points, which is 2 points below Manchester United, right? And Wolverhampton Wanderers, we think, are going to finish in fifth place. This is controversial because they're 6 points away from Leicester City. Remember, this is very controversial but what we think is that they're going to win four games and draw one game, right? We think that, and winning four games and drawing one game, that means that they drop only 2 points going in from here, and that would put them in very comfortable position at 65 points. We think they'd be at 65 points, and Leicester, we think, are going to drop 9 points going in from here, so that leaves them only with six, and they would be at 64. So you see how tight the table is, right? We are projecting that Manchester United is going to be at 70, Chelsea 68. Then of course there's a little bit of a drop off where Wolves is at 65 and then Leicester at 64. And like Pashwa pointed out, the fifth place this season also might be a Champions League spot, right? So teams are going to go for that. So that's what we have to say, that it's really heating up, and each game matters. It's almost like, Pasha, wouldn't you say it's almost like each game's a playoff game now?
Oh, it absolutely is. I mean, even going into the Europa League, which Wolves, Chelsea, uh, and United, so, not just in the even the Europa League and the Champions League, they've essentially made it into a knockoff single leg,
Yeah,
World Cup style. So I think it's going to be interesting 2 months of football, and I can't wait.
yeah.
I'm excited. I think United have the potential to finish third, to win the Europa League and possibly even the FA Cup. And all in all, I think that would be a fantastic season if
Mhm.
that's what we achieve.
Right. So what we're saying is that United did not lose a game from here. So what is the one thing you think is going to be the most important thing for that form to continue now?
Consistency. The likes of Martial, Rashford, just not dropping off. Rashford hasn't been his best since coming back from the injury and the lockdown. So I think it was great to see him get the goal against Bournemouth. It was he took over the penalty from Bruno, which is I think a nice gesture, so that he gets a boost in confidence. And then yeah, I think it's just Paul Pogba and Bruno doing what they've been doing, putting in the good balls, putting in the assists, and just pray that there's no injuries.
Absolutely. I think I completely agree with you. I'd also like to add that I think tremendous focus in the defense is required. I think in the attacking way, I just read out the statistics as well. We're doing incredibly well. The goals are being shared around. So the main thing is that the defense needs to be solid and bottled down. But I think that will happen. And so, guys, finally, we think Manchester United at third with 70, Chelsea at fourth with 68, Leicester, Wolves in fifth with 65, and Leicester unfortunately in sixth after their brilliant season with a 64-point total. So you see the gap between third and fourth going to be 2 points according to us. The gap between fifth and sixth, a mere point. So it's an exciting season, and tune in to this channel to watch more things about Manchester United. And thanks, Parshva, for joining in. And please subscribe to the channel as well.